Okay, item number 7 is council forum, and the first thing I'd like to do in the council forum is thank the school groups that came today to help. If you see the black material over the flower beds out here, they helped do that. They helped paint at at 3 parks today, I believe, the Lions Park, the one by the swimming pool, and the Chautauqua Park. They also helped on 5th Street do some things. What did I forget?
They actually had 2 groups at Lions Park. And I don't know if Laura at North 5th Street had 1 group or 2 groups, I'm not sure.
She had a big group. If it was only one, it was a big group.
Would it be, should we not write a thank you from the city and send it, please? Okay. Okay. Is there anything else, council members, about meetings or anything that you attended?
No, but I do have a question here about the notice of public hearing for the amendment for the current budget. Could you go through that, please?
Sure.
What that, because we're talking some rather large numbers there.
Sure. On the budget amendment, which will be I believe it's the last thing in your council packet that you would see, and this is, of course, for the public hearing set at the next council meeting. You'll see reflective of $550,000 of adjustment into revenue. That is in the source of FAA funds for the airport projects and HUD funding for our housing projects, which were not originally built into the original budget. So they have to be adjusted in. You will see at the bottom on line 23 reflected in there, line 22 reflected in there, is $550,000, which is a direct correlation to that adjustment above. Once you take that adjustment out, you're looking at about $168,000 left on the expenditure side. Just to kind of roll down them a little bit, and this is a little bit communicated at the bottom in the small amount of space that our friends at the state give us. There was, in public safety, for instance, there was a couple of capital purchases in the fire department. The fire board approved replacing their door at the fire hall that was not built into their budget. And they had a couple other minor replacements of pagers and replacements of their other radio devices to comply with the new narrow band rules. So that's a good portion of public safety is that, and of course the fact that our police truck that we purchased, which we approved in last year's budget, did not get paid until this year's budget, so it rolled over into this year's budget. So that's why you see that reflected within the public safety number. Under the public works number, to some degree, that's speculative. That is speculating that there's a possibility we could get, if we are quick in making an arrangement with an engineer, we could have engineering fees this year for the street project. So I do have some adjusted in expense planned for the possibility of paying engineering services for that street project in there. There was also iJobs money that came in from the state to the number of about $24,000. We're required to use it within a short period of time out of the street department, and of course that is being reflected in this year as partially expensed because we are moving forward on using that towards beefing up our cost. For instance, we spent about $10,000 on having pothole work done here in town, and a portion of the iJobs money was used for that project. And of course that was not budgeted for. The under health and social services, why that's a small line item, that actually applies to our local trees forever committee, which Bill sits on. And there we received a grant, a private grant, and we also received twice as much money from Mid-American through their grant process than what we anticipated. So those, anticipating that we will spend those through this fiscal year, I needed to adjust the expense side to associate with that expense. The $20,000 under culture and recreation is reflective of some expenditures at the that rolled over from last fiscal year for the playground equipment that wasn't installed until October. Part of that was anticipated to be spent last year and did not get spent last year, so therefore it rolled over and wasn't paid till this year. So you see that reflected in the amendment since it wasn't originally in the budget for, all of it wasn't originally in the budget for this year. Under general government, that's kind of a catch-all location. Anything doesn't fall under the other departments falls under that department. For instance here, any FEMA projects that we didn't expend out the money for until this fiscal year would fall under that general governmental expenditures.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can go over all that again next week too. Or 2 months ago too.
There's some training coming up for anyone that's in charge of disaster. And it's coming up, there's 2 of them, and it's mandatory for anybody that is helping with that. I'm going to get you the dates, Bill, because the mayor is required to do it. And since you're my stand-in, if you can be there, I think it would be good for you to do it. And if anybody else would be interested in doing it.
Where's it at?
It'll be here.
Who put that on?
Actually, Jim Bullock is working on getting the trainers right here in our town, and people will be coming to us. It'll be at the comm center over
I
there.
think I already have a certificate for being trained.
Yeah, and I think you have to upgrade that, because I have done it too, but he told me it was mandatory. So I'll get more information on that to you.
Just another comment on the Simon Estes concert. Went over real well. Ticket sales came to about 21,000. Our expenses for the Simon Estes to meet their requirement was 15,000. We paid some expenses out of it, so there was close to $6,000 of profit on it, and that will be used in the future for similar type programs for the benefit of the school students. And the Fine Arts Committee really did a good job, and we also had some volunteers involved. And I'd again like to commend the newspaper. They did a good job of reporting on it, number one. Number two, gave us a lot of complimentary advertising, so that was instrumental in actually getting the word out and promoting it. So we certainly appreciate that, Dale.
Well, Bill, all those involved with that fine arts, and all the people that worked very hard for it. I'll tell you what, that was an awesome concert. And I will say that I don't think you really needed a microphone.
I don't think he really used it.
But it was something that I'm really glad that got a chance to go see.
And I talked to Paul Ferrone, who's the coordinator for Simon Estes. He said, they were really happy with the way the crowd responded, the reception that they received by the community, and he thought Simon Estes, this was one of his really odd nights. I wasn't aware of the fact that singers have on nights and off nights like athletes and so on, but that stands to reason. So they were very happy on their end with what they experienced here.
I think our kids need a compliment too.
Oh, absolutely.
On what they did.
And the 2 music instructors.
Yeah, that pianist, I couldn't believe that that she was playing like she was playing for our kids who were singing. She was.
Today, your wife said something about follow-up concerts, and that they might be doing a youth concert here because of the...
They're doing a follow-up in Jefferson. I listened to that radio station, and they're having them back again. They got another second encore, they call it, and Steve got a choir that comes in and sings or something.
The youth
is that
choir.
the one from, excuse me.
That's okay.
South Africa?
Yeah, the Simon
His
Estes
choir.
High School in South Africa.
Yeah.
They're in the United States right now because the day after he was here, that Thursday night, they were in Ames.
Yeah, because Jefferson's been advertising that they're having another, what's called encore one in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely would pay to go and listen to him again. Simon Estes, it was awesome.
Is there anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Good. Call for a vote.